right, all of y'all who are still standing can take a seat. All right, good morning, you guys. Well, I know it is fall break, so you're probably missing some of your friends, but I have a pretty easy question for you to start off this morning, okay? So my question to you is, name or tell me about one thing that you really love, or something you love, or someone you really love. Yeah. Your books, okay? And how do you know that you love your books? Like, how would I know that you really love your books? Because you read them so much. Well, that makes sense, okay. Yeah? You're what? Okay, and how would I know that you play with it all the time? Okay, Emma? Your brother Ethan. Oh, that is so sweet. Okay, tell me, how would I know? I know. How would these people know that you love Ethan so much? Because you hug him? Okay. I bet you think about him a lot too, right? Okay, well, so we are going to talk about someone who loved something else. Who here has ever heard of St. Paul? Oh, none of y'all. Okay, thank you, Gail. We've got somebody. Okay, so St. Paul, he wrote one of the readings we read today, and he said something really interesting to these Christians, okay? It's kind of like us, but a long time ago. He said, let the same mind be in you that was in Christ Jesus. So and he's saying, because I know that you say you love Jesus, I want you all to have the same mind. So I want you to do what Jesus did. Kind of, that's the same thing. So he's saying that if you love Jesus, I want you all to show that. Maybe it's because you love playing with something you do playing, right? That's your act that you do because you love something. And you love reading books, right? And so your action in the reading of your books is that you read them, right? You can't put a book down. And Emma, you show it all the time when you love and give hugs to Ethan, right? That's how you show that you love Ethan. Well, Paul, one of these old ancient writers, he's saying, if you love Jesus, I want you to do what Jesus would do. I want you to be like Jesus in the mind, okay? All right, so on the count of 3, I want you to yell out the person that we love the very most, okay? Do you know who that is? God and Jesus. I think, let's double for Jesus this morning. Okay, cool. All right, 1, 2, 3. Jesus! All right, good, all right. Right. So today is a very exciting day. We are kicking off our annual stewardship campaign for 2024. And I usually get especially anxious around stewardship because no matter where I've been during stewardship season, when they use the phrase, because it is almost always this phrase, time, talent, and treasure, they really just seem to want your money. And it's true, we really do want your money. We really do want your money. But as a priest and a younger person that is struggling with significant financial burdens like student loans, medical debt, saving to hopefully one day buy a house, and also the hope of one day growing our family, just the mention of financial contribution sends me into a serious tizzy. Just ask Bob Thurber, our treasurer. I break out in a cold sweat and begin to wonder if I'm even worthy to walk around in my clericals. Now, all of that said, when we begin talking about stewardship this summer, I volunteered to face my fear straight on. I wanted to learn more and to dive further into how to be a faithful giver, but also be a realistic giver, given where my family is right now. And I want to do that for and along with all of you, your families, everyone, Because you all also have your financial resources tied up in making the simple things of life happen. Now, this is what I wish we could have done, but I'm going to try and summarize it right here. What I wish we could have done together was to wonder, as a parish, how do we follow, and in this case, give, not only of our wealth, but of our works and our wisdom, when we are in the wilderness? Because when we can't see the future, this can be very daunting. I've always related to the daunted and frustrated Israelites in Exodus, wandering through the wilderness, especially this passage from today. I think it very well sums up how I, and for that matter, so many of us feel in relation to where we find ourselves when there is a crystal clear call, a call like stewardship season, to be faithful followers. Because at the heart of the matter, what we are all really wondering is the Lord among us or not? Just like the Israelites were wondering. They were quarreling among themselves. So I don't hear us quarreling necessarily, but I think it's natural for us to wonder, is the Lord among us or not? And the good news is that yes, the Lord is among us, like sweet, cool water flowing from the rock. And this is how I know. One reason I know is because we have been discerning for a very long time. We are also in the wilderness like the Israelites. We have begun a new journey with new leadership in the last year, and we are all finding a little bit more about who we are and where God is calling us to be with this new leadership. We have been discerning. We discerned a bit when we called our new rector, Father Donovan. We discerned a bit more as he introduced us to new and different things. And we just keep on discerning as he invites us to evolve as a spiritual community. The wilderness is a time for us to become more sure of our identity in God, to hone in on what we need for our journey, and then also to cut back on what has become cumbersome along the way. As individuals, but now especially as a parish community, we must ask ourselves, how do we best grow where we are? What needs amending to be who we desire to be? It's important work, this discernment, in order to reach towards what we believe God is calling us towards. The Lord is among us throughout this, and the water has flowed from the rock. For example, I was a bit dubious about the children's moment, like the one we just had, when Father Donovan announced at his arrival that he would like this to be a new custom that he wanted to introduce to our service. And selfishly, I was a little put off because I had to come up with one more little mini sermon. But also, I worried about how it would look because in 2022 and early of 2023, most Sunday mornings at the 10:30 service, we might have, 3 kids, maybe 5. How would it look to preach a children's sermon to 5 kids? Frankly, when that is the norm, it is hard. And now, here we are this fall. Minus this morning when everyone decided to go on fall break, which I get, I would be gone too. This fall, we often have 15 to 20 kids all sitting up here, giving us their silly and very smart answers. And on top of all that, we had to add an additional 2-3 classrooms. It was at least 2. Additional classrooms for children's formation on Sunday mornings, because we have that many children of various age groups attending most Sundays. That is the Lord among us. Water flowing from the rock. God continues to be faithful in the midst of our wilderness journey, our discernment. Another example, in the fall of 2022, we were trying to get younger families together, and when we did, we had enough. We had a few, but it was definitely hit or miss. Sometimes even the fellowship was a miss. And I remember one particular day in the fall. We had promoted a particular event for at least a month. It had to be. A women's night out. And the evening came, and we ended up with 3 people. One was the organizer. The other was our faithful children's coordinator, Laura Beth. And the other was me. And it felt like a little bit of a kick in the gut. Now, fast forward to the last month. The first moms group and a spaghetti supper for our younger families were massive hits. Remember how we could only get 3 women together for a women's night in the fall of 2022? Now at the moms group, we have over 10 women sharing their life together over a little food and drink. 10 women with younger children. And I've heard from many of them how wonderful it was, how much they enjoyed it, and how much they wanted to invite friends in the future. And then there's the spaghetti supper for our younger families. And we put that on with a very specific purpose of receiving feedback from them about what inspired them about our parish and what they want to be more of a part of. And the anonymous, this part too, we also did it with the intention of passing around an anonymous sheet for them to write down their reflections. We wanted to hold a space where they could freely express their concerns about their limitations because they're raising young children. Now, we had 15 adults that spanned over about 10 different families, and every single person, including one child who must have gone to Children's Chapel, fill out this sheet, front and back. They were brutally honest too, by the way, which is what we want. We want to know the truth. And if you didn't get a chance to fill that sheet out, we're gonna send it again, so don't worry. This is how serious our younger families are about this parish. They took that time to listen to what we have to offer, but also they took the time to consider what was important for them and to give us feedback in the hope of growing our parish, making it that much more inclusive for people who are experiencing all kinds of different realities, making it that much more into what God is calling us into as a community. All of this, faithful people showing up. This is the Lord with us. Water that keeps flowing from the rock. And I also want to mention more, just a few more, because I don't want to forget there are so many other things that have begun to blossom in the last several months. Things like having more formation opportunities. We've added on another Bible study offering on Tuesday nights. It's incredibly well attended. Father Donovan's class is huge. Every single time I get a chance to go in there, it's always full. We have a book study, and we can have those things because people are invested in being here. They have a deep desire to grow in their spiritual life. That is the Lord with us. And all this water flowing from the rock, well, this wilderness, it won't look exactly so daunting with all the water. Because we have people, all ages, races, genders, showing up to be faithful followers. But right now, we are still in the wilderness. This stewardship season is a time for us to continue what we have and offer up to God as followers for this journey as a parish. Now, I say that because we are all in different places. Some of you are in a season of your life where time is limited, but perhaps you can offer wealth. Perhaps your kids have moved out of the house and you're not, making sure that soccer is paid for and hockey is paid for and dance lessons are paid for. Or perhaps saving for college funds. Some of you may have limited financial resources, but you have a particular wisdom or skill that would be helpful to the parish. For example, I know there are still some slots available for all you fantastic musicians that would like to play during Lobster Fest. I've kind of been, poking my husband a little bit to play. We can offer that. You can offer that. Or, finally, if you don't feel particularly skilled, we are in desperate need of works all the time. Just ask Laura Beth, who just walked out, our children's coordinator. She often hauls off with 20 children in tow to Children's Chapel, and there's some days it sounds like a little bit of a rough gig for just 2 people. We need all hands on deck. God has provided us a path through the wilderness, sound leadership, even in the midst of the unknown. Through giving of our works, see Laura Beth, seriously, our wisdom, we are always looking for more expert gardeners, and our wealth, even if it seems small, every bit helps and is a step forward on the road towards growth as a parish community. Because remember, the Lord has been and continues to be among us, with water flowing all around.